Hi everybody, Rochelle here from Quebec CICHLID. Today, brace yourselves for another episode of Store Xtreme Makeover. This week I will be showing you how all hell broke loose at my store. It was hell for us, very entertaining for you. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. So these past couple of weeks I have been slowing down on my videos because, well, all hell broke loose in the store. So I had taken a week off to have a little vacation, work on my house, and when I come back on the Saturday, I had a 150-gallon tank. The demo at the store, beautiful, filled with embunas, and, well, it's on the floor. 130 gallons of water on the floor. Lucky for us, I mean, when we got there, it was still leaking. The fish were all okay. We arrived pretty flush with the time. Like we opened at noon, I arrived at noon. The store was open, filled with clients, and there was 150 gallons of water on the floor, which you can imagine is pretty intense. So we took this tragedy and saw opportunity in it. That is part of the Store Xtreme Makeover we wanted to do. We obviously didn't have time, we had other priorities, but well, it leaked. So change of plans, and we've been spending a lot of time on this. So it's been taking up most of my time just fixing all of this up. And I was also working on another episode of Store Xtreme Makeover that I'll probably post later because it's not entirely finished. We had to prioritize this aquarium system. If ever this video seems chaotic to you, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to get all my footage and link it so that it makes sense, but really everything was happening at the same time. So if ever you see something that's there, that's not there in the other footage, well, it's just because everything's happening all together. So let's get started and I will show you what I've been going through for the past month. You know, when you get back from vacation and you say to yourself, I already need a new vacation. Well, I think I repeated that mantra a million times that day. It took all of my willpower not to close the store and just give up. In this footage, it's still leaking, but the fish are okay. The floor is cement, so there was no damage there either. In the end, that's all that mattered. Although no harm was done, the store was full and we couldn't do this by ourselves. Lucky for us, our friend Joe was available to come and give us a hand. First of all, we had to empty everything out and get the aquarium out of the way. We have our trusty buggy that we can just roll her off on. Bye-bye tank, see you in hell. The fish were all relocated in a 125-gallon tank. I hope they're not mad at losing that extra 25 gallons. I gave them some food and eventually they didn't mind so much anymore, as long as they're being fed, right? We figured that this was the perfect opportunity to build the aquarium rack we wanted for this section. We've been dreaming about it for years. At the moment, the whole rack is 3 feet wide, which is enormous and takes up way too much room. We want to put 4 breeder tanks on this, so we're going to cut it down to 18 inches wide. The 150-gallon tank had a lot of room behind and it just ended up gathering clutter. First of all, we removed the metal that's holding everything together. This is what it looks like taken apart. Now, to shorten the metal to the desired length, we used a saw with a metal cutting mesh. The sky was threatening us with rain, so we had to act fast. We finished just as the rain was starting. Phew! Now we have to pierce new holes to bolt the metal to the vertical sides. We are making a small hole first, and then we are using a bigger mesh to complete the job. Thanks to YouTube magic, all this barely took a couple of minutes. But in reality, this took up our whole day. No wonder we were procrastinating this. In this footage, we are binding the vertical sides back together and crossing our fingers that our math was correct and that we won't have to redo any cutting. Phew! Pythagore is no stranger to us. Now we're assembling everything back together and lying to ourselves that we will be setting it up with aquariums tomorrow. In reality, we only were able to set up the new tanks the day before a new shipment. We work best on last-minute panic. Finally, the day has come where we can't wait any longer. We already had 2 breeders that were just waiting to be set up. They were waiting for us in the back store. As for the other 2, we had to take them out of our tropical fish section. Now you understand a little more what I meant in the intro when I said we're doing everything at the same time. All this, and we haven't even touched the 6-footers. Those will be in another episode. In a future episode, hopefully not too far away in the future, we will also rebuild this aquarium wall, which at the moment looks silly. So did you notice that Ben setting these aquariums up alone? I guess he didn't need my help that much for the first 2. If you remember correctly, or if you notice, these tanks are drilled with a bulkhead that will link them all together in the future. I am not doing this plumbing today. We don't want this to look silly, with tanks filled 3/4 of the way like in so many other tanks in our store. So we put a strainer on one end, and in the back, we just set it up like this. This way we can fill the tanks up completely and they won't leak. If you're wondering why we haven't done this in our tropical fish section, where the aquariums have been 3/4 full for the past year, well, we're wondering the same thing. Better late than never, I guess. These tanks will be hosting mbunas, which are African cichlids from Lake Malawi. As with all my tanks, I'm going to be over-filtering these. Each aquarium will have an AquaClear 110. The ones I'm using have been cycling on other aquariums. If I wanted to, I could put fish in the tanks today. Also, safety sponge filters will be added in each aquarium. They each have one that was taken from the breeder tanks that I used from the tropical fish section. All of my sponge filters are connected to 2 gigantic air pumps. We had 2 big power outages just this year, so you can never be too careful. When there are big power outages, we can connect these pumps to our little generator, which Joe lent us, while we wait to get a big one to connect all the filters. The last power outage happened in the evening on a weekend, so everybody was closed. At least we had our friend Joe to help us out with his generator, a lifesaver. We only put the substrate in on the next day, as I wanted to make sure that the aquariums didn't leak. If they leaked and I had to fix them, it was just easier without substrate to take out. On the bottom tanks, we are using Carib Sea, Florida crushed coral, and on the top tanks, some old crushed coral that was reused from the old wall of aquarium we took down last month. One day after putting the substrate in, we put the fish in. All that's missing now is the light, which is ridiculous because I have new awesome fish that I want to show off. Next week, I will show you the fish that I put in these aquariums, as I will be showcasing all of the fish from my shipment. You will not want to miss out. So that's all for today. I hope you liked this video. If you're wondering what happened to the 150-gallon tank, well, it's still here. It's not ready yet. The frame is broken. I'm checking with the manufacturer if I can get them to send me another one, but I do not think it will be happening. So I'm gonna have to do something to fix that frame up. So if you wanna find out what will happen with the 150-gallon tank and are just as curious as I am, because at this point, I don't know yet, well, subscribe to the channel and make sure not to miss a single video. Store Xtreme Makeover is a series that I've been working on for the past 3 years. So this is not the first episode that I posted. Go check them out. I'll link the playlist in the video description so that you can see throughout the years how my fish store has evolved. There's also a ton of other Store Xtreme Makeover videos that I will have to edit eventually because, as I said, everything's happening at the same time. So I have a lot of footage for you of me moving aquariums, aquariums not being nice to me and leaking, a bunch of other stuff. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. If you're curious about the fish that I'm gonna be putting in this system, because now you only saw them without the light, I will be showcasing the fish in next week's episode, where I will showcase all of the new awesome African cichlids that I got at my store. I have some from Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Victoria. So make sure not to miss out. If you want more fishy content in between my videos, Well, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a great website where you can shop online and see all the fish I have for sale. I ship throughout Canada. I actually own a local fish store in Terrebonne, Quebec. I don't think I mentioned where my fish store is yet, but it's in Terrebonne, which is right outside of Montreal. So if you're from around here, you can swing by and see the fish during my opening hours. If you're interested, I also ship throughout Canada. So if you're interested in a quote, just send me a little email. I'll put the link as well in the video description and just with your address, and I'll see what I can do. If you like this fabulous CICHLID Geek t-shirt, you can get it on the Teespring store, and every shirt you get, it really encourages me to continue doing what I'm doing, continuing on this awesome project. And thank you to everyone who supports me online on my Teespring store and in real life in my actual fish store in Terrebonne, Quebec. You guys are all the best. Thank you so much. So thanks again to everyone for tuning in. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.